There was a sadness in her eyes, one to the likes of which could make even a grown man cry. She looked at the woman, dressed in red, painted like only the darkest of canvases, and said, "Hello, I love your books." The small little voice of a mere child reached her ears. She stopped and stared. A little girl, her eyes as blue as the brightest sky, her hair the most beautiful shade of red. Not even a rose could compare. "Oh, hello there. My books? Aren't you a little young to be reading something written by someone like me?" The woman smiled gracefully as she spoke to this child and crouched down on one knee. "No, where I come from, all life is like your books." Her heart stopped as those soft, fearless words left the lips of the child before her. She wrote tragedies, only tragedies. This realization, this stinging sensation, even for a heart like hers, it was nearly too much to bear. "Oh, is that so? Well, I'm glad you loved my books, dear. Now tell me, what brought you here?" The little girl held out a book and the woman smiled, for it was the very first one she had ever wrote. "P.S. I'm sorry." A novel written so long ago, filled with love, hatred, and woe. In the end, it doesn't say whether or not she ended up happy. It doesn't say anything. All it says on the final page is "P.S. I'm sorry." Her words were true, for that novel was special. There was no ending to that story, because it itself was meant to be everlasting. An everlasting tragedy. "Huh, you're right, my dear. That story doesn't have an ending. You see, for that story in your hands, it's quite unique." She smiled as she spoke and gently took the book and turned the page. This story was riddled in her worst memories and guise of a fantasy. The child watched in awe as the woman gently flipped the pages to page 333. "You see this? Chapter 20, Forgiveness. This is where this story truly begins. The final chapter, the end." You should really read it again. She smiled once more as she handed it over to the little girl, who stared in confusion as to what she should do. "Right now? Out loud?" The woman slowly stood to her feet and gently tucked the girl's hair behind her ear with a smile that showed no fear. "Indeed, my dear. Out loud, to me, right here." As the woman stood there smiling, the little girl glanced down at the words before her. She wondered in her childish mind how an ending can be the beginning. But she read it with confidence radiating until she came to a verse that made her stop and think, glancing up at the lady as she continued to read. "I stood there that night on a bridge, dressed all in white, the fear of tomorrow weighing heavily on my soul. I felt as if I were walking blindfolded and unaware into the unknown. I wondered, would he be waiting there, somewhere beyond the wonders of the world, somewhere beyond the horizon, across the turbulent sea? I couldn't help but to wonder if from those vast skies he was watching over me. It was strange, I know, to think that this world, filled with pain, could ever truly make someone so happy. In that moment, I knew that happiness was only the beginning of the end of my story, and in order for me to obtain it, I had to draw my blade and never look back." River glanced up into the sky and smiled, for in that moment she was truly happy, to know that wherever she went, he would always be. She couldn't look back. She had to move forward. She had to live, because if she didn't, she would never learn to love again, and so she did. As the little girl's voice rang out, the woman couldn't help but to feel the sting of the pain, for that special book held her very own beginning. You see, dear, she lived. Regardless of the pain she endured, she lived, and in doing so, she taught herself that sometimes happiness can only be born of tragedy. So when you turn the page and go to the last one where it says, "P.S. I'm sorry," sweetie, that apology, it was to herself for living in tragedy. The little girl gasped, for she never looked at it like that. As she glanced up at the woman, a faint smile made way and took over her tiny little face. You mean that when she said sorry, it was like a secret message saying what exactly? The woman giggled a bit beneath her breath as she took the book once more and gently ran her fingers across the faded black letters. It was saying she can be happy, free to live and love and exist without fear of tomorrow anymore. Her message to herself. P.S. I'm sorry. A single tear formed and dropped onto the page as she closed it and handed it back to the little girl who stood before her, a puzzled look on her face. Then suddenly her eyes twinkled like the stars in the night sky as she glanced up and smiled. Yep, miss, I really love this book. The woman's smile only grew as the child spoke those words. She knew that deep inside, that little brave girl who came from a brutal world where a child could read such a book, found her light, and not too late. I really love that book too, my dear. You should head home now. The sun has begun to set, and I'm sure your mummy and daddy miss you dearly. Suddenly the small arms of the child wrapped around the woman in a warm embrace, a warmness that beat that of even a fireplace of Christmas. Returning the little girl's hug, she sent her on her way, tears streaming down her face as all her memories came back into play. That silly book, to think, a life it would ever save, but she knew it. That girl, at least for now, there was a little light in her world. With her silent thoughts, the woman glanced up at the vast sky and smiled. To think it was still only the beginning, but alas, the ending would come eventually. However, she had hoped it would come slowly. The final page. P.S. I'm sorry.